Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. As always, I'll be talking to an author whose book I have recently read and enjoyed. And my guest for this week is Kanika Sharma, and she's coming on the show for the first time. She dabbles in a genre that I shy away from, both as a reader and as a writer. She's written a horror book, horror anthology of short stories, and I am going to talk to her about the book and how she managed to write the stories, what was her inspiration, and much more. It's going to be a very interesting episode. Okay, Kanika is already here. Let me invite her and start. Kanika, I've sent you an invitation. See. Okay, I am not able to see you. You are here. Can you see me?
I can see you fine.
Okay, interesting. Can you exit? I will add you one more time. Let's see if the glitch goes.
Sure, sure, sure. Let me just do that. How do I put on the cross? Something like
Yes,
this.
yes. You click on the cross. Okay. Okay, I've sent you a fresh invitation, Kanika. Hopefully the glitch should go now. Yes. Yes. Wonderful. I can see you now.
Great.
Yes. Okay. Firstly, welcome to the show. Very excited to have you here. And I can't hear you. Did you, by mistake, press on the mute button?
No, I
Oh, yes, I can hear you now. Yes, yes, I can hear you now.
I think there's some glitch. Instagram is not very, I don't know, out there yet in terms of all these things, I feel.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So, welcome to the show. Before we begin, can you briefly introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Oh, well, yes. So, where to start from? Well, I am born and brought up in Delhi. I have done my education from Delhi University, that is Hindu College and SRCC. These institutions have made me what I am today in terms of exposure, in terms of as a person. So that's that. After that, I've done my PGDM from SRCC. After that, I've worked in corporate for a while. I worked in learning and development, which usually comes under HR. I was a corporate trainer in nutshell. But I always so I was a very studious student. जो मम्मी ने कह दिया वो कर लिया. मम्मी ने बोला ये कर लो, engineering करना है तो चलो engineering तो नहीं करी मैंने खैर. But after that, मम्मी ने बोला MBA कर लो, job कर लो, मैंने कर दिया. But I always wanted to kind of have an inclination towards English literature, even Hindi literature. So my parents were like, no, that's not going to pay your bills. So after I sorted the jugaad for paying my bills, I thought now, chalo, let me continue with what I wanted to do. So I was always a reader, but then came COVID and I had ample time because a lot of traveling time was saved, and work from home maybe as such, there was not that much of a load. So I started, writing. I started with submission to these international magazines on prompt-based basis and everything every author would know about these. I started writing on LinkedIn. I gained some confidence. Then I edited and compiled a few anthologies. And that's how I thought, yeah, now it's time for my solo book. And that's when Bikram and Bittel happened. So this was my first book. It's a
Okay.
very thin novella. It's again in horror segment. It's a modern day version of the story and folklore of Bikram and Vetal. All
Okay.
right.
Interesting.
And yeah, so it was back then. Blue Rose used to be a free self-publishing POD kind of a platform. So I used that opportunity, and then it really gained appreciation from everyone. And I thought that, so I was always a very introvert, loner kind of a person, and I liked the kind of company that I was now getting of authors of similar mind. I said, no, let me pursue. And then Memoir happened. It's a collection of short stories, musings, and poems, etc. So that happened, and फिर I just, while it was Amazon पे, it was doing great, bestseller भी था, सब कुछ था. But एक चीज था, I just kept feeling that I'm not a true author somehow if I'm not traditionally published. And this is completely me as a person, not to put anyone down here. I think had it not been self-publishing, I would not have gained the confidence to even start for traditional. But it just kept ticking me. Like I am as a person is rarely satisfied overachiever kind of a person. So that's me. But then I thought, no, I want to do it. And then I, kind of dabbled with it, talked to a few, and then I realized that even the traditional publishing today is kind of a, in disguise. They push the model of self-publishing, which I was not okay with.
Hmm.
So then I thought that करना है तो Big Five के साथ ही करना है. I waited to 2020 2020 में Memoir came, and then 2025 में Creepy Crawlies came with Hachette. So
Hmm.
it wasn't easy. Like 5 साल मैंने wait किया, and then yeah, it finally happened. And Creepy Crawlies, so you would be telling more about it, but it's a collection of short stories, horror stories based on folklores of India and abroad. So that's about it, and that's about my book. Yeah, over to you.
Yes, and since we are already on the topic of creepy crawlies, I'm quickly going to show the cover to everyone first. I think you might be having the
Oh
paperback.
yes, let me just. You've already shown the front. This is the back.
Yes.
Talks about the
Unfortunately,
brief.
I cannot show the back cover because this is the
Yeah, no
digital
problem.
version.
It talks about the brief blur,
Yes.
but I
And yeah, it's a very creepy cover in itself because there are spiders on the person's face and
yeah.
he looks horrified. I mean, he, she, I don't know. They.
So Damini is the cover designer, I think, and she was like recruited by Hachette for this project, and she's otherwise also a famous graphic designer. She has her own exhibition and everything. I think it's completely it goes to the credit goes to her. I just kind of shared my vision with her that this is what I want, and she kind of.
Zooming in on the cover so that everyone can see the spiders on the person's face. The crawlies.
Those who have read the book will know which chapter it is from.
Yes. So yeah, and I was just telling everyone this is a genre that I shy away from because I am a scaredy cat. I can't read horror much without getting sleepless nights, and I can't write also for the same reason. मैं लिखते लिखते खुद मैं डर जाऊंगी ऐसा है मेरे साथ. So I
Mhm.
stay away from that as a writer also.
Right.
And I enjoyed reading this, of course, despite the fact that I got sleepless nights. But for me, the factor that stood out the most was that scary to hai hi, but it is something that happens in routine life. All the stories are happening in a routine life, and I just kept thinking, यार ये मेरे साथ भी तो हो सकता है. This is
Exactly.
this is so like possible. The realm of
Brilliantly
possibility is
pointed out.
very big.
Brilliantly
Yeah,
pointed out.
the realm of possibility with these stories is so like हाँ ये this is
Possible.
yeah ये तो हो ही सकता है ना क्यों नहीं हो सकता. I am sure
Mm.
something like this will either happen to me or has happened to somebody, or I have already heard similar stories around me about something like these happening around us. They are
Yeah.
all urban legends mostly. We have heard folk tales and folklores and urban legends around the stories that are part of this book. And one of the stories that really struck out to me, I'm not going to read out that, but I just want to say that was my favorite and the one that creeped me out the most. It was about a journal where the person is writing some resolutions and then something happens. I was
Right.
so freaked out because I am I do journaling
Journalism.
like a crazy person, and I'm like, oh my god, what have you done, Kanika? No, I will stop journaling for a few days now.
Oh God,
Yeah, and
that's
also
funny.
the way that he finds that particular journal, that is also something that I do. I will go into an old shop and into an antique shop
Yeah.
where such things exist, and I would immediately pick that journal also, and I would
Mm.
never realize कि मेरे साथ क्या होने वाला है. Very very creepy.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah, sorry, you were saying?
no, no. I said I completely agree with you. Please go on.
Yes, so I'm not going to read out that particular story. You have to go and read it out for yourself. Go check out the book. But I am going to read out from a chapter that also otherwise also was very scary, and mostly because I think it is inspired from Hotel California. I feel, yeah, I was right. So this is titled Ghoul, and at the beginning of each chapter, there is a title, and you have also given the source of the inspiration, where it comes from. For this
Yeah,
particular chapter, Ghoul, you have given the summary as a demon-like being or a monstrous humanoid originating in Arabic folklore. A ghoul is often described as a hideous creature who possesses you or shapes shifts to appear alluring enough to lure you easily.
right,
And this is something you have done for every chapter, which I really like because you need to know the source where this is coming from, also, I think.
right, right.
Yeah, so this is how the story starts. There was a time long ago when I used to be a ladies' man. All I had to do was point at a woman, and she would allow me to part her legs to kiss the juncture like I was drinking from the honey pot of heaven. For the people who are below 18, this is just a disclaimer.
Yes, guardians के लिए है.
Yes. Inhaling her salty scent and feeling the iron in her veins. I thought I knew at least something about being a Casanova. To me, in this cruel, scheming city, lovemaking was like creating one's own magic. Magic to fulfill desires and to get through the desperate hustle of staying alive every day. Especially in times that were preoccupied by desperation and hunger, I would take sporadic long drives to the suburbs. The empty streets and silent houses served as the perfect backdrop for my illicit encounters, adding fuel to my insatiable appetite for passion and pleasure. Each rendezvous was like a breath of fresh air, a temporary escape from the harsh realities of my existence. And I am going to show everyone that I have highlighted this bit because that is something I could relate to. Each rendezvous was like a breath of fresh air. That is something that I do. I walk out of the house just in search of something or just to take a break. And usually that happens at night for me.
Mm,
So I completely relate to this part that you just have to go out into the city during nighttime or during a time when nobody is around. So you feel
around.
like a certain semblance of reality that yeah, kuch to hai.
Right,
But deep down, I knew that this series of fleeting moments of ecstasy was just a futile band-aid against the deep cut of emptiness that consumed me, just a hollow attempt to fill the void within my soul. As I would drive aimlessly through the night, chasing after the next thrill, I yearned for a connection that went beyond physical desire, something that would truly fulfill me. But as the city lights blurred past my window, I couldn't shake the feeling of loneliness that lingered within the depths of my heart. Was I destined to just wander throughout my life, searching for something that may never truly exist? The thought weighed heavily on my mind. I was grateful that it was the weekend once again, so I decided to bid a temporary adieu to the rusted cogs of the god-forsaken city machinery. I raced down the dark, empty streets with nothing but the hum of my car engine and the echo of my own thoughts. Little did I know that this ride would take a twisted turn into bad dreams and lost love. I was whooshing past the almost deserted highway of Kashedi Ghat, also known as the Mumbai-Goa Highway. A cool wind blew through my hair. A sweet smell of the Lady of the Night rises through the air. Up ahead in the distance, I saw a shimmering neon sign. Tired from driving the entire day, my head grew heavy and my sight dimmed. I had to stop for the night. As I stopped in front of a hotel, bathing in pink flamingo light, I saw her standing in the doorway. I heard the mission bell, and I was thinking to myself, this could be heaven or this could be hell. As she led the way, I followed her upstairs in a trance. I thought I heard some voices down the corridor asking me to run away. Welcome to the hotel Infincia, said the pretty receptionist, white as the color of milk, as she handed me the keys to my room. It's a lovely place, she continued, as she showed me the insides of the room. What a lovely face, I said in my head, disinterested in the room and more interested in her ivory flesh. Plenty of rooms at the Hotel Infinitia, any time of year. You can find it here. She continued with what seemed like the marketing jingle of the deserted hotel. As I saw her leave the room, I noticed the gems she wore. They were much more than what she could afford. Her mind is Tiffany twisted, is what I concluded with a coy smile. My eyes followed her to the courtyard where she found herself with a lot of pretty boys. I assume she calls them friends. Oh, how they dance in the courtyard. I'm not going to read further because we'll be giving away too much now. What
Yeah.
happens at this hotel and how was this person's experience? Was it spooky? Was it something else? You have to go check out the book for that and read the rest of the story titled Ghoul, and of course the other stories also. I think there are ten stories, right?
10 stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is just one of them that I read out, and I already spoke about the one that I enjoyed the most, or probably that creeped me out the most.
Yeah.
And I'm forgetting the title of that story. What was that? Uh, the one about the journal.
Oh, I think it's called The Book.
The book,
The
yes,
Book.
yes. So this is another one, the book, and I'm going to quickly read out what it explains about the word. A demon from Jewish
Jewish.
folklore, a debug often clings to antique boxes and objects. But what if it clings to you? And this is something I think people like me who are very interested in collecting antiques would be very creeped out by.
Should be very wary of. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of thought behind it, and I think it was more creepy because it was something very ordinary.
Yeah.
It's not something supernatural. It is something that can very much happen.
That was
And
100% intentional. Yes. Glad you put it up on that.
okay, so based on my reading, Kanika, I had a couple of questions for you. If you would be kind
Sure.
enough to answer those,
Sure.
I'm
Sure. Please
putting
go
up
ahead.
the questions. Give me a second. Yes, my first question to you is just a minute. The book, as I already mentioned, it often blurs the line between sanity and delusion. You are not very sure, see, सच में हो रहा है or am I hallucinating about it?
Yeah.
So, while the narratives also force the reader to question what is real and what is imagined, how important was this psychological ambiguity while crafting these stories, and how did you balance clarity and confusion in horror without frustrating the reader?
Well, see, like you have also been talking about it. This is not, this ambiguity, or this is not, I would say, only a stylist element or only a styling element of the book. It is the very spine of this book.
Mm,
So, because see, I often feel that now you may be not often horror reader, but I am, and
mm,
when I read, so I feel that, oh, my mind just kind of discards certain horror books. Let's say, oh, this is too far fetched. This is not possible, and I feel safe from the fear.
mm,
The very fact that this fear is very homegrown or ordinary, it lies in the ordinary, as you said, is because of the fact to make you think, and there that's where the psychological angle comes, that ये हो सकता है हमारे
mm,
साथ भी हो सकता है. It may be karma driven. So each story has an emotional anchor. It may be karma driven. It may be as a result of your bad deed. It may be as a result of your a particular habit. Like you say, you have a habit of collecting old and antique things. It may be due to your habit of going out in the night alone, है ना, random walks or whatever. So I tried to keep it that way, where a psychological ambiguity is there, but not to the point of obscurity or absurdity that there's no reason to it. Because we see this generation, the next generation, or any generation, it's not, while the essence of it lies in the folklores, but we are not the generation of our parents or grandparents who would blindly believe those folklores.
mm,
We are very logical beings. Our mind works in that way. We've read science or whatever. We try to conclude logic to each of these. क्या ये possible है, क्या ये possible नहीं है. So there is no story which is just absurd and obscure, and there's no reasoning to it. So at the end of the day, reader is not left confused. So that is how I think I balance the confusion also, and put a slight doubt also. So
mm.
yeah, that's about it.
Which brings me to my second question, because
Yeah.
all of these stories have some certain folklore around them. So, folklore and urban legends often survive through whispers and warnings. right?
Yeah.
How did you translate that oral bit into these half believed quality into written fiction? And what kind of research, if at all, was involved in researching the specific myths and legends? Or did you rely more on memory and emotional truth?
Uh, if in one sentence I have to answer that, it's a bit of both. But I would elaborate definitely on this and I would answer it in two parts.
Hmm.
I feel that it's a mission of my, writing journey that I want to preserve these folklores. I want to bring them to paper, by kind of writing about them. And because I take great pride in India as a diverse nation,
Hmm.
as something where on every 200 miles there is a different culture, or maybe a variant of the same culture, different variant of the same culture. It's not just language, food, dialect which kind of changes, but also these cultural folklores.
Hmm.
So I feel there's so much of potential, there's so much of pride I feel associated with our culture. Yes, surprisingly, it is also an era which is where they are doing marketing, wise well. You look at Kantara, you look at Tumbad, you look at whatnot. So that is the thing. So glad that this era is that generation is kind of going back to our roots. Second question. Yes, there were stories which were based on the memories and what was told to me as a child, what I heard. Um, if you there's one story of Shark Chunni, right?
Hmm.
And the starting of which is that there's this lady who kind of knocks your door and asks for food. Now we've all, I think, if you're a 90s child born in India, especially northern India, I don't know about south, you must have heard of this lady who knocks the door and asks for roti pyaz, right? And then you have those vermilion wale hands and everything for that. So yes, that came from there. But then when I did a lot of research, then I found that the research part came in where and found that in south maybe it's called something different, Nalleba. In eastern India it is called something different, but essentially all of them have experienced the same folklore, है ना? And some of the western countries have also, for example, I was so surprised in my research, I did not dwell deeper into it, but it casually came about something about witch onion in onion witch in east, western countries. And I was like so surprised, because in India we do have a culture of eating like gaon वगैरह में raw onion with roti and simply when you don't have the means. But in West people don't do that. So where
Hmm.
did it came from? I don't know. I don't know. So that was the research. Similarly, a lot of research on. So I wanted to write a very modern day horror story, which could even relate the biggest enthusiast of science and AI, which was AI based. And that it could also be a potential horror and everything. And I was watching Megan and movies like that. It also inspired me. So I thought, let me do something. And then I researched that is there a demon which is close to AI generated things or robots or whatever. It took a long list of prompts to kind of research and refine that search history, and then a lot of back and forth with my editors also, that what demon could work, and if I was, because it's a human flaw that sometimes you do a lot of research and then also you could do wrong. So there they helped me that you might want to check the origin of this particular demon. I think it's not correct. So hats off to the Heshet team also, wonderful supportive team who kind of redid the research on my research and helped me out, pointing out in anything that was not correct, or that factually depth was not there. So yeah, I think a bit of both, I would conclude it that way.
Your answers have led to two follow-up questions. I think, in fact, three, if I'm recalling correctly. क्योंकि आया और तुरंत चला गया question. But the first question that I did feel like I should ask, there is a first-person perspective in most of the stories. What was your thought behind that?
um I no, I think honestly, if I have to be very honest, there was no thought. I think that's how my writing style is. It comes very naturally to me. I usually shift from the ordinary or from the usual if I have to. For example, I think in the story about zombies, the one which kind of relates to Bhagavad Gita, I had to kind of talk about two people, the podcaster and the main guy who is a French citizen. So I used it as a third narrative out of the usual because I felt that it would be more clear to the audience. So maybe it does, switch between the third and the first. But yeah, I think that's my usual style, I feel. That's
Okay.
it.
And there are two stories, I think, which I could think of, which were very similar to something that I have watched on in popular entertainment or I have read about in
All right.
real media. So, first story, the one you talked about, where the lady comes and knocks on the door and she asks for food. I was reminded of Stree from that because she comes and knocks on the door every time, and that is something
Right.
that I have seen similar in the movie Stree. So was that connection there, or am I just thinking out loud here?
Well, Spree itself is based on this particular theme, the 90s whole onion witch thing and the Nalle Ba thing from the south. I think that at least the initial part of it is they kind of build it up beautifully from there and
Hmm.
took it to different direction. That's that. But initial story, I think they have also taken from the folklore. It existed way beyond Spree came. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the myth in which both the stories are based, the legend around which it is based is similar. And then there is the last story where we come across the AI bit that you were talking about just now. The lead character that we are talking about here is very similar to another actor who passed away during during those times. I also was, reminded of that particular. Was that inspired?
Yes, that was my tribute to SSR, and I have I've accepted on all platform that I feel that that person was very he was wronged, and I think
Yeah.
that we should talk about him, and we should keep talking about him in any way possible, and
Yes.
the
Yes.
time justice is delivered. Yeah.
Yeah, we have Devansh here. I'm just going to quickly address it because after the readout from your book, also, he appreciated it. He liked the part that I read out. So go check out the book, Devansh. Much more interesting than the bit that I read out. And now he's also correcting me. He's saying Sri is based on Nalleva. The bit that you, I am aware of that. I was just asking you that whether
Yeah.
the things are similar. Yes. Okay, I think that brings me to the end of the questions that I had. The follow up questions are also done. The floor is now yours. You have also read my latest title.
Yeah. So first of all, I would want to say that this is kind of so embarrassing that I was just, before the live was getting started, I was searching for your book fanatically, and then I got to know that there's this health that comes to my
Yeah.
place, and she liked the cover so much that she took it and she left a note कि दीदी मैं लेके जा रही हूँ और मैं इसको कल वो कर लूंगी. I think उसने खोल के देखा होगा. So she's like वो she's also part time working and part time studying, so she's very interested in books and I support her that way. So it's like यही book लेके जानी थी, but I think the cover is so attractive and it's very teenager friendly now that you feel like connected, like there's this girl with cute hair and everything and aesthetics and ice cream and she's like winking. It's very, yeah,
Yes.
it's very inviting. It's and the cherry blossoms in the background, of course. So I think she took it like because of that thing, and then she kind of must have browsed through it and she must have seen those graphics ki to main फटाफट फटाफट पढ़ लूंगी. So I think she took it. But yes, so I'm sorry that I'm not able to kind of show it to my audience, but I want to start with saying that I feel if somebody asks me as an author, as a what genre are you scared of, what genre you don't think that you have the capability to write, I feel it's comedy, or I don't know what how else to kind of put it in technical terms, but in layman terms I feel comedy is very difficult because even if I tried very briefly for one prompt, and while I was writing I could feel that oh my god, nobody will laugh at this, I'm not laughing at this. It's a very difficult job to make someone laugh. So, सबसे पहले तो hats off to you, to all the authors to kind of who attempt this genre. It's my biggest fear, and it's my biggest regards also to the people who, kind of work in that direction. I have also told you personally that 110 from my side to kind of venturing into a different genre, to venturing into a different style for communicating it. Like, you don't expect and you don't see people in day-to-day life, going through a book and finding, graphics or illustrations or whatever you want to call them inside in a very bubble cartoon strip format. Can you show them, please? I'm sorry, I'm not able to
Yes.
do
I'm
that.
going to quickly show everyone a few of the illustrations.
Yes, yes. And I feel that, like, my first impression of it was like, it is so cool that, you are in a metro or you're traveling, and sometimes, you can't read text because zor padta hai while you're traveling, and especially if you have weak eyes or whatever. But this is, you can just like pass your times in it, like as a 90s style again. It reminded me of R.K. Lakshman sir, cartoon strip. Yeah, it could be the biggest compliment to anyone. I think he's
Yeah.
the legend. And in fact, the comics of Nagaraj, and I've grown up with that. I love comics, X-Men and whatnot. So yeah, so that happened. So I was very pleasantly surprised and everything. I felt that the book takes you through a journey that while you are reading now, you feel like, do I need to know this? Why do I need to know this? But then when you know, you feel like very relatable and very personal. Yeah, like, oh yeah, I remember this happened with me. And yeah, so that is that. Like, I would just have one critique, that I think that you need to go out all out in the punches, just to kind of, because sometimes what happens, something is very personal as a personal joke in our mind, or maybe our people would know that, but for everyone, I think, yeah, I would look forward to the second season or the second part of this, which is like very funnier and everything.
Wow.
So that is that. And initially I struggled a bit with the theme, so I very later on I realized, I would also like you to show this to the audience, that there are alphabetic themes. Okay, a में what good, so sorry, just before you show the book to everyone, so the book is about all the good moments in the mundane that happened with Manali, that were very unexpected, and suddenly, usually things go in a way that ये तो ऐसे ही होगा, and suddenly an unexpected, happy unexpected twist comes to that, and the smile it brings to her face. This story is about that, right,
Yes.
Manali? So yeah, so basically, she has listed all the things that could go her way, in a most unexpected way in the ordinary, from A to B to C to D. So she has categorized it alphabetically.
Yes.
Now, it took me some time to kind of find the theme between, because it was bad of me that I didn't see the letter on the top. I said, okay, now she's talking about, like, a moment back she was talking about jeans, now she's talking about ice cream, and I could, like, because I'm very logical as a person, I think most of it I could have enjoyed it more, because I kept on making the logic and connection between, which is like,
Okay.
which is my limitation as a person. I totally accept that. I should be more like less guarded and everything, like go with the flow. I'm working on that, work in progress. But yeah, so I feel that वो theme थोड़ा सा, next time my suggestion would be, but of course you're the author and it's like the creative liberty is always that of an author. I would be कि आप थोड़ा सा इसको thematic करोगे, it will turn out to be more beautiful. But a very 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 unique book that I've read
Thank you
in a
so much.
very long time.
Yes. And I will keep those points in mind. We have already discussed that, yes. And
Yes.
yes, definitely the constructive criticism always helps us to get better. So, yes.
Mm. Thank you.
Okay. Would you like to read out from the book or shall we move to the questions you had for me?
अब मेरे पास बुक ही तो नहीं है, आपकी बुक ही तो चली गई है.
Ah, right. कोई बात नहीं. Let's go to the questions. No, we have already shown the
But
illustrations.
I can talk about, I would like to, I think it's only fair that I would like to talk about three things that really kind of I liked in the book. First, I think first and foremost, I love the dedication. It was so sarcastic, it was so sassy, like it's not even part of the nuggets, but I think you've got some skill as a roaster. And even I don't know you, Manali, nor do have we've talked so much before, nor do I know anything about your family, but as a reader, it could make me like so much in awe the kind of relationship that you share with your husband. As a woman, I can totally relate to it. I can, every woman dreams of it, and touch wood, I pray from the Almighty that it always stays like that for
Thank you
you
so much.
and your
Thank you.
husband. And second one is of course the jeans one, wherein so Manali goes to a jeans store, and I think she always struggles in finding the right kind of a fit. Sometimes
Yes.
it is like too tight, sometimes it is too, I don't know, loose. And then,
Yes.
once in a blue moon, she goes to the changing room and the jeans is the exact fit. So these are little happiness. That is what I'm seeing. These are little happiness that you won't even count for happiness or gratitude, but these are points of little gratitude, and a very good way for us to, I think, also kind of feel happy and gratitude for the little things we have. खुशी के लिए बहुत बड़े चीजों की जरूरत नहीं है. If you want to be happy, you can just be happy in these things. And then there is another story in which she's kind of also working and doing a lot of stuff, and she buys an ice cream, and thankfully the whole ice cream stays. It doesn't melt. And from here, the name of the book, I believe, also comes, the jeans that fit and the ice cream didn't melt. So two things of joy for
Yes.
you know
That's the one. Yes.
so yeah, so like John Keats said that thing of beauty is a joy forever. I think thing of ordinary should also be a joy forever. Once in a while, it goes our way. So yeah.
I think that's the only similarity between our books. We take the ordinary and turn it into something
Yes,
extraordinary.
yes, yes. So that's a very good point. I looked overlooked it, but yes, I now feel that's very true. You took the ordinary and took a pleasure out of it in a very goofy, cute way, and I took the ordinary and make it very,
In a horrific
psychologically
way.
horrifying.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's nice. Nice connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you have some questions for me also.
Oh yes. Oh yes. So the first and foremost thing, like I said, now when I saw the book, I was like, why why did you, Manali, choose this particular particular way of communication through graphics? Like, I have rarely seen any Indian, or for that matter Western authors do that. Mostly you see this trend in Japanese or Korean anime, manga, whatever. I'm not that much into them, so I don't know the names. But how did it like struck you कि मैं text नहीं use करूंगी, मैं graphics use करूंगी, मैं illustrations use करूंगी? How and why?
So the idea of this book was based around these nuggets that I'm sharing from my everyday life, everyday little moments that bring me joy. And while I was compiling the nuggets, I realized that people would not understand the context unless I am giving them a situation where these nuggets came to me. And for showing those situations, of course, I would have to represent them graphically because explaining them in text would not be as effective as putting them in the form of an illustration or graphically showing them ki, haan, this was one of those bits where you have to actually show rather than write. So that's how I decided to go with the illustrations. And actually, the journey began long back. The concept of this came to me in sometime in 2020-21, and it started in the form of social media posts that I used to put out on Facebook and Instagram with the hashtag silly things that make me happy. And they used to be either completely text or a simple colored background, like a plain colored background and just the text of the nuggets on it. And niche
All
hashtag silly things that make me happy. And it resonated very much with everyone. I mean, not just the people who know me, but in the wider circle also, the people who are just following my content also, they also connected with it very well. And I was just venting out. I didn't expect people to relate to it and like it so much. And once they became so popular, the idea came to me that this can be something beyond social media, something that can be, thought about turning into a book.
Yeah, you
So
can after all we all are same. So yeah, that is why your silly things that make you happy may make many people having similar
Exactly.
journeys.
Exactly. Yes. So it started out as a text form, but when I started collecting the nuggets, I realized that ये situation explain करने के लिए कुछ तो चाहिए. There has to be some add-on to each nugget. I cannot just say that this was the nugget that made me laugh or made me smile or changed my mood. People would not understand, and that's how the
Yeah.
graphics came into being. The idea was always there कि हर nugget एक graphic के साथ ही जाएगा, but then once I was through with the compilation of the nuggets, I realized कि ये graphics के लिए और भी time लगेगा. Probably more
Mm,
time than the time it took me for writing the text
of
of the
course.
nuggets.
Of course.
And
Which, sorry, yeah.
yes, yes, please go on. You had a
So
question.
which brings me to another question, which is like, how, what was the process? I'm sure you talked about that it took more time. Then tell me, how was the process? Did you first draw it on pen and paper and then kind of used some software to convert it into illustrated or graphic form? What was your process like? Was it very time taking? How long it took? What publishers, are there special publishers for such books? Did some publishers simply reject you because of the fact that it was a graphic book? Because मैंने सुना है, for the context, I was also, because creepy crawly, I think this is also one similarity that I think could be there, is that creepy crawly पे भी बहुत अच्छी graphic novel बन सकती है.
Hmm.
All these things of fears, अगर आप एक demon को देखोगे in the graphic form, तो वो ज़्यादा impacting है rather than just reading the text. So I was thinking on this plan. I discussed it with my publisher also and couple of them, and then everyone was like, yes, we can, but then graphic is very specific, cost taking, time taking, and cost implying. So that is the thing. So tell me, did publishers kind of turn down your book or idea just because it had graphics and like all about it?
Okay, so when the thought of the illustration was there, I had already it in my mind कि पहले I will get done with the text part of it and then I'll come to the illustrations. When I eventually got done with the text part of it, I reached out to illustrators and graphic designers, and soon I realized that there would be two major impediments. One was that I would have to shell out money from my own pocket, which would not be as affordable as an indie author. I would not get an ROI on it. How much ever I tried, there is no guarantee on whether I would ever get an ROI on the investment that I'm making in terms of the illustrator or hiring someone to do the illustrations. The second was that the time involved in making the illustrations. Whoever I was reaching out to, they were giving me a timeline which was not acceptable to me in terms of when I wanted to put the book out. I always like some certain freedom in my hand when I'm looking at a publishing date for whatever book I'm working on. I have a date and particular timeline in mind कि ये अगले 3 या 4 या 6 महीने में बाहर आ जानी चाहिए. And the illustrations, since they are so heavy, I mean, there are 162 of them. And if we take the book cover also, it makes them 163. So obviously, no illustrator would have that kind of bandwidth to complete it within, say, 3 to 4 months. It would definitely take more than 6 months. So that was another impediment. And yes, one more thing was that since this is book is very much about me, all the characters that I have illustrated, they represent myself or moments from my book, and I would not be able to hold myself back from giving inputs about how the illustrations should be. And
Should look like.
no creative persons likes that kind of interference where we are constantly badgering them with ye dalo wo dalo, ye acha nahi hai, wo acha nahi hai, you missed out on this. So that would not be an enjoyable process for either of us, neither me nor the illustrator who I would have hired for doing the process. So these were the reasons that I immediately realized that hiring somebody to do it would not work. I would have to figure out a way to do it myself. In
Right.
fact, I also started looking at short-term courses where I could learn to be an illustrator myself and do it in a way. I was that dedicated to, doing this on my own.
Sure. Sure.
But I'm very happy that the compiling of the book took so many years, because in that many years we had so many AI tools out there who could help me do that. So in the 5 years that it took for me to compile the book and make the decision of bringing the book out, we already had softwares like ChatGPT and Gemini to help us make this process easier.
Yeah.
So all the illustrations in this book are with the help of Google Gemini. The first draft actually are in fact taken from Google Gemini by putting in uh, various kind of prompts. But of course, it wasn't easy. I had to figure out a way on how to make it work faster and better and get results at the first go. None of these illustrations were a one go on Google Gemini, of course, because आप prompt डालोगे और आपको जो चाहिए वो result immediately तो आने नहीं वाला है. You will have to figure out what is missing in that particular prompt which is not giving you the result that you.
Oh, of course, of course.
So first thing that I realized was that the girl in each illustration has to look similar. वो
Yeah.
तो हर इलस्ट्रेशन में मैं अलग दिख रही है वैसा तो नहीं हो चलेगा. So that was the first process that I realized कि I have to keep that prompt uniform across all the illustration. I have to make the appearance of the woman in each of the illustrations similar, and for that there has to be a uniform prompt for all the illustrations. So I figured out her appearance first. She has to look like me. So she's somebody in her 30s. She wears spectacles and she has a curvy body. She has long wavy hair. So ye sare physical appearances of the girl were the things that I figured out first, and those remained the same throughout the illustrations. Then I figured out where I have to place her. So based on each nugget, I had to figure out the surroundings. For instance, this is open, so I'm just going to talk about this. The one where she's eating a sundae, she's on a cruise. Okay, so this is
Mhm.
a particular thing that happened with me, and I know that this is something that I have taken from a photograph itself. So what I
Wow.
did was I took inspiration from the photographs of myself. I looked at them and then I created prompts around the photographs, the elements in the photograph. So in this particular photograph, I was sitting on a cruise and I was enjoying ice cream. It was sunny outside. So those are the elements that you see here. I'm on a cruise and there is water around me and I'm enjoying ice cream. So those elements I put in the prompt and then, somehow it worked out.
Well, I deal with ChatGPT very closely, and I believe in smart work and not that much of hard work. But I would say that it is no less than an hard work to get ChatGPT right in what you are expecting as a task. So I can imagine how many prompts it must have taken to you to kind of arrive at one nugget. And hats off for that kind of effort, hard work, and kind of resilience to kind of keep pursuing that. So yeah.
Yeah, and coming to the publishing part of the book, I have always gone with this particular publisher with all for all my books, which is Ukyoto. And when I reached out to them for this particular book, they were hesitant about it initially. Yes, you were right. Publishers are not very keen about illustrated books, and they also said the same thing. It would be very costly for us to bring out an illustrated book, and it would not be easy to sell it at a price point which would cover the
Fair
cost
easily.
of printing it cover the cost of
Yeah.
printing it. So that's when I talked to them and I explained to them that I don't need the illustrations to be colorful. They can be monochrome also, and that's when they were agreeable to putting this in an illustrated form. Generally what happens with graphic books is that they are also in a colorful palette, which makes the cost higher of
Yeah.
printing it. And since this was not on the, on that spectrum, the illustrations are monochrome. That's why the publisher was agreeable कि हाँ ये कर सकते हैं. Otherwise, yeah, as you mentioned, it would have been a problem for me also.
Yeah, that is some story. Nice, nice. I'm proud of you, Manali.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, I also initially thought that I would want colorful illustrations for the book, but then I soon realized that the monochrome factor of it would connect better to the readers because they would get a feeling of reading a comic book. In the colorful illustrations, that might not have come out so easily. The detailing also, and plus the cost effective thing that we are talking about. So, yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. Kind of makes me think, yeah, that what these Raj comics and all that, they've cracked the code. They were printing such beautiful graphic colored comics and at such a reasonable price point that
Yes.
every child and everything would buy. I think I I mean, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so what's
Wonder
next
how
in
they
this?
managed that. I mean, they must
Yes,
have had huge confidence in their content कि इतनी copies तो बिक ही जाएंगी that it will cover the cost. Yeah.
right, right. So what's next? Tell me, Manali, what should we do next in this life?
Yes. So the next is the rapid fire round.
All
Kanika,
right.
where we'll do back and forth, which is this is my favorite bit because we do back and forth and it's a lot of fun.
Oh,
So
so before that, I think Shalini ma'am has joined us. Hi, Shalini ma'am. And then there's Nilashri also, who was there for some time. Hi,
yeah.
Nilashri. Thank you for joining us.
She's a very dear friend, and she's also the founder of Authropod magazine, which
Yes,
is a platform that promotes authors. And I would say I'm taking this opportunity for everyone who is here and who's an author. Go nominate your book for the Authropod awards. They do not
yeah.
charge anything, and they are very transparent. And
It's
yeah,
on my to-do list. I have to do that. I've just been like stuck up in some personal thing, but before 31st January, which is the last date, so
yes.
I will definitely do it.
And yeah, quick shout out to Shalini also. She has been on the show thrice now, and yeah, I just love her work. So, hi Shalini, nice to have you here. Yes. Now we move on to the rapid fire. Kanika, shall I begin it? I will
Yeah, yeah,
ask.
sure.
Okay. So my first question to you is a character you felt almost sorry for and a character you despised or you thought they got what they deserved.
I felt so yeah. So because you've read the story, so I think Chalawa, the first story. You feel very sorry for the boy. I'm not going to diverge because it's the main twist, but you feel sorry for the boy. You see what's happening, but you can't really, there's this meme. I know it, but I can't prove it, right? So that's the story of that boy. And then I think I feel as a woman, Shark Chunni is also very dear to my heart because I feel that yes, we talk about, these haunted female spirits, but if you go into the root of it, at the end of the day, she was just a woman who wanted, like every woman, a happy life, a happy marriage, a happy family. So that is also very pitiable character, I feel, very unfortunate victim of circumstances. And then I feel the character that I despised, I feel that it was like justly got what it deserved was that of Zakir in Chupacabra. I really kind of had no sympathy for even writing that character. I feel it kind of deserved what it earned, what he earned, and it's basically so you have to read the story, but I think he did some unimaginable deeds and he paid the price for it. So yeah, that was that was that.
Another character that I really felt very sympathetic or rather empathy about was the character of the mother, where she's a school teacher, government school teacher, and they move to a new place, and then things happen, and she, kind of falls
Yes.
into a situation where she has to put herself out there in order to protect her family. I felt
That
really
was my
bad.
question to you. You stole my question, Manali. So one of my questions for rapid fire is, which character you felt the most sad for? Now please elaborate. I think, and then we'll
Yeah,
go back.
so I'm forgetting the title of the story, but there is this particular family.
From Kappa.
Huh?
Kappa.
Yes, correct. So there's a family. They have a son, twin son, and there's the mother and the father. All three of them are living a happy life, and then suddenly something happens where they have to move out of the place where they're living. I think they are living in Bangalore, and they move to Kurg, right? That's the
Cool. Right.
yes. And the place there they move to is not all hunky dory. They move into a house which is supposedly haunted, and so certain things happen where the child becomes a victim of the haunted spirit, and then the mother has to do something to protect the child, and that's I
It's
really
like
felt
the
sad for her.
ultimate sacrifice. Yeah. Only a mother can do such a
Yeah.
sacrifice.
So yeah, for me that was that. You your question is also done. So now again it's my
Right.
turn.
Sure, 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 sure.
Okay. My next question to you is a line from any of the story that you knew would unsettle the reader, or one that you refuse to remove even after multiple editing rounds. Why?
Taking the latter part first, I think Hashart has been again a very heartfelt thank you to the team. They have been so cooperating and so everything. So I had this doubt that traditional publishing, they would probably do their own way of, have their own way or highway kind of a thing, and especially the big five. But they are so accommodating and so author, taking along the author always, that fortunately I have no such issue wherein they kind of had me remove a line.
Hmm.
They did have suggestions sometimes, not always, but some of the times they would suggest that probably you would want to have a look at it. But I think that was that. There was never a compulsion, so that is not that. That is not there. But unsettling kind, I know that it could unsettle a few things, a few people was, I feel in the chapter zombie, and it starts with something that, what happens if the hell is full? What happens to the bad people? They kind of, come falling down to the earth, and then yeah,
I am
because
going to read out that line if you can guide me to where it happens.
yes,
Because yeah, it was really, really creepy. I mean, creepy in
so
the
I
sense
am
that this is very much possible.
possible because of
Yeah.
the corruption, the kind of society that is, currently we are heading to, and I feel that's yeah, it's probable. So it is in the
Wait,
chapter. You
I think
found
I
it?
found it. Yes. The peak of this dark age. I think that's the passage, right?
No, that talks about the right. That's the one.
Yes, so it goes, the peak of this dark age will make people extremely intolerant and violent. Even their belief in God will die out. Harassed by famine and excessive taxes, people will resort to eating leaves, roots, and human flesh. The streets will turn even more congested with no space to drive and no place to walk. They will be everywhere.
Yeah,
So yeah, I when I read this, I was like, "Isn't this already happening?" I mean,
it
we
is
are already here.
taxes. I'm already a vegetarian, so I eat roots and leaves, but I hope that I'm never, there come never a day that I'm able to, that I have to kind of eat human flesh or any flesh for that matter. But yeah.
Yes. So, okay. Thank you for answering that. I think it's your turn again.
So, yes. Sorry, I'm still kind of stuck with it. I was waiting for the exact line, but yeah, this was also close to it. Anyway, so moving on, I want to kind of ask you a question which is okay, so since we are talking about creepy crawlies, let me take up that first, which is you talked about the character that you kind of felt sad for. Which was the story that kind of creeped you out from inside?
Creeped me out from inside. I think two stories were there where I was like, okay, I didn't see that coming. First is, of course, I've already told about the
Yeah,
journal. Yeah,
journal.
the debug story. And the first one. Because you are already thinking in your mind and the story progresses in a way where you know who the antagonist is. You don't see the twist coming. Uh,
Mm.
and it comes at the very last. I mean, I think in the second last passage of the book, it comes the ultimate reveal of who is the actual antagonist. And I was like, oh my god, that is some level of twisted game that just unfolded here, because that person is now going to suffer because of something they didn't do. And that was like, yeah, isn't this what something happens anyway? Like we try to blame others for our fault.
Others for our mistakes, yeah. And also, if you notice, it is the only chapter in which there is no supernatural entity. It's
Yes.
all human. So
Yes.
it's very much, like you say, possible, more possible than other possibilities, even. So, yeah.
Yeah. And as a person, I am somebody who is creeped out more by some of these things which can happen to us. I'm like, I don't believe in the ghost and the supernatural kind of things
Yeah.
because we know it is fiction. I
Yeah.
mean, in our heart of hearts, we know that ऐसा कुछ है नहीं. But this is
Yeah.
something that can happen.
Yeah. True. True. Now, your turn, please.
Yes. Okay, my third question to you is a setting inspired by real place or real feeling and one that was completely fictional.
Real feeling, I would say, I think the last chapter, I think, yeah, the one on AI, Chitoli. So we've already talked about it. It's based and it is very much inspired from the life of Sushant Singh Rajput. And yes, I feel when I thought of a story, so it started like I wanted to write a story on modern day horror, which could be a modern day horror. Maybe robots can take over, aliens can take over, AI can take over. And my mind instantly went to the fact that इन सब बातों के बारे में कौन बात करता था? You know,
Hmm.
Sushant used to talk a lot about these things. And I'm sure that, if he would have been blessed with a longer life, I wish he would have done some of these projects. So that's where the idea of a person who is very visionary in terms of creativity, in terms of logic, in terms of science came to me. And I already, like most of the people, I was also SSR, admirer, and I thought that, let's write something about him being the protagonist. And what could be, I think also we are very fixated to as to what happened to him, how he died. So I think I kind of do a closure for myself in a way that I could. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's that. And completely fictional, I would say, of all the stories, I think Jorgamo is something. The spiders one, which is the cover of the book, I feel is very far fetched. वैसा तो मुझे लगता है कि नहीं होगा, hopefully. So yeah, spiders coming out and then going all antagonist on them on you. I think it's a little far fetched as of now.
Okay. Okay. Your turn.
So yeah, so I want to ask that, talking about Fit Melt, I want to know that the character, the central character of the book, is it like the book and the character, in fact, is it 100%? And now I know that it's like inspired from your life or your things that give you joy, but it is like 100% inspired from you. Is it a memoir of sorts? Yeah, there is. What percentage would you assign to the closeness of you as a person and this book?
Oh, 100%. Yes. These situations have, in fact, happened with me. All of them. 100% of the nuggets are completely taken from my life. At least the text bit. The graphics may have been fictional, but even those are 90% straight from my life. As I was mentioning earlier, they are taken inspirations from the photographs that I have taken of myself in those situations. If I happen to take those, if not, I have fictionalized the situation where that might have happened. So yeah, the nuggets are 100% memoirs, but the illustrations are maybe 90% memoirs. So yeah.
All right, that's good. Your turn.
Okay, my next question to you is goosebumps from fear like creepy crawlies or goosebumps from joy like those in Fit Melt? Which is stronger in your opinion and why?
Yeah, I have always been a very weird child in terms of, as a child also, when people used to, watch and rave and talk about in 90s, you had this time that after school homework you would go down, you would play with the kids. That was not the era of mobiles and everything and social media. So that was the pastime that we used to do. So people would talk about, after playing games and all, they would talk about Sonpari, they would talk about Shakalaka Boom Boom. I always talked about Ahat and Exazone. So they would like, I made me a periya कि ये तो थोड़ी अजीब सी है. So I'm a horror lover. I can't, like, it's not a choice for me any day. Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. Okay, your turn.
So I want to ask you that, talking about, let's now that we are talking about horror and comedy, would you want to even ever dabble into horror writing? Would you take that risk? Get out of your comfort zone? Tell me.
I would. In fact, a lot of my readers and my friends on Bookstagram have been behind my life. कि Manali, we want a horror or a thriller from you. या तो तुम horror लिखो या thriller लिखो या दोनों को combine करके कुछ चाहिए. And I have actually dabbled in it in short fiction. A longer fiction I have not done. I have written short stories around horror.
Interesting.
And honestly, it leaves me spooked myself when I write about some things. Because one of the short fiction that I wrote around horror was about a victim of abuse and how they, kind of get together in the afterlife and how their life becomes. So yeah, it leaves me also disturbed when I dabble in that particular horror, because for me, if it has to be horror, it has to be something inspired from real life or something they are stuck with because of something that happened to them when they were actually alive. So yeah, that would leave me disturbed, wondering about if such spirits actually do hover around because they didn't get a closure.
Yeah, sure. No, I
Yeah.
get you. Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Your turn or my turn? No,
No,
my turn.
your turn.
Yeah. So my last question to you is one illustration from Fitmill that felt like it was taken out of your life and why?
I feel jeans wala. Yeah. So I feel that it has not. You had your rare blue moon moment that you found a jeans which was like straight. You went in the changing room and it was a straight fit. For me, I have never found a good jeans like on me that defines me, my curves or whatever. It's just either too straight or it's just too loose or it's just too tight. I don't know. I have too much to the point that I have like kept all my denims out of my wardrobe now, and I've shifted to pants or trouser or other forms of trousers or whatever. But yeah, never one good moment with denim. So that was relatable.
I wish you all the luck and hope you find a good pair. I am going to recommend trying Levi because those are that particular brand of jeans is something that I am very loyal to and it has not failed me yet. So
Okay,
yeah.
I will. I will. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Your last one.
yeah, the last question that I have for you, and I think to any author that I talk to, it comes to my mind that which author or which writer has shaped your writing journey, has influenced you the most, and why and how?
Oh wow. I'm going to sound like an old radio, but yeah, I grew up in the 90s. So I would say Enid Blyton for sure. And of course, J.K. Rowling. And also Nicholas Sparks. I read a lot of Nicholas Sparks and Sidney Sheldon. These are the four that I
Wow,
actually.
all of them very different genres.
Exactly. You see very different genres. That's why I also dabble in multiple genres, maybe, probably. So yeah. So these four. Romance definitely Nicholas Sparks. If I'm doing fantasy, definitely fantasy or maybe romance together. Definitely J.K. Rowling. And then if I'm doing mystery or anything related to a younger audience, Enid Blyton, of course. And then there is Sidney Sheldon if I'm doing thriller. So yeah.
Yeah. No, but just another maybe message for you subliminally that it's your time to write horror because Nicholas Spark has also made a debut in horror. Do you know that with M Night Shyamalan? He's written
Oh
a in collaboration a horror love story.
yeah, it's the universe's message for me, I guess. I need to write something in horror or thriller. Yes.
So yeah, what's next? Tell me.
Now we come to the gaming part where I will play a bingo game. This is the Fitmel bingo designed around the book that you have read of mine, the latest titles. And these are the nuggets from the book itself. You just have to answer in yes or no. These are activities or some things that you have experienced lately. And we'll take it as a view. Okay, so the first one is witnessed a perfect sunset in the last 7 days.
No.
Okay.
Oh, no, yes, 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 yes. Not मतलब मैं थोड़ा अपने दिमाग में poetically सोच रही थी, but मैं सुबह सूरज को उठ के जल देती हूँ. So yeah, in a way, yes. Sometimes I
Yeah,
do it
sunset,
very well.
sunrise both work. So yes, you are doing that every day, in fact. Okay.
Yes.
You have already answered this, but I have to ask. Own a pair of jeans that fit just right.
Please don't rub salt on my wounds, please.
Okay, next one. Ate ice cream before it melted.
I think so, yes.
Okay, lovely. Next one. Nailed a witty comeback at the right time.
Sometimes no, mostly no.
Okay.
I think of it later कि ये बोल सकती थी shit, damn.
Next one. Went on a peaceful walk alone.
No.
No?
Or maybe yeah, I go to morning walk alone. That does that count with my AirPods and everything?
Yes, yes. My outdoor walks I always consider my me time. और मुझे अकेले ही जाना होता है. So yes, it counts. Okay,
Yes,
next
yes.
one. Got lost in a great book.
Got lost. No, I have a very bad habit of I binge books. Like I have to finish it in a day or two. I don't like keep it for a long periods. But I skim through it. And it has become so bad that I think the last book that I enjoyed was Harry Potter, which I kind of read it in depth. It remains to be one of my favorite, all-time favorite. But apart from that, I have a very bad habit of skimming through books.
Okay, next one. Took a shower without adjusting the knobs in the past week.
Yeah, it's always on the hottest for me. There's no adjustment.
Okay, lovely.
That's how I bath. Yeah.
Okay, next one. Took up a new hobby or did something creative.
I did complete my pet project. I just posted about it today. I feel that as authors, we do so much of work and then we just हमारे दिमाग में बहुत जल्दी रहती है कि अच्छा what next project. It is very important to take pause and celebrate the moments that you've invested so much in. So
Yeah.
I did this project. Every live that I went to, uska wo creative I took out. Every book signing ka photo I took out. I decorated very nicely on a vision board. I mean, future vision to har koi karta hai, but also celebrate the moments that you achieved, na. So I created that achievement board. I would say not a vision board, and yeah. So that I did. That was creative. That was nice, liberating. Yeah.
Yeah, Nilsri has pointed out that two Potterheads united. I also just realized, yes, Potterheads for life. Yes. Okay, next
Always.
one. Heard a song you forgot you loved.
Oh yes, I think so Border is coming, right? And with Border,
Yes.
it is reviving those 90s nostalgia संदेश से आते हैं. And I thought, it's been so long, I didn't hear of the songs. Yeah, this is nice.
Okay. Next one. Found an old note or photo.
No,
No? Okay. Next one. Spotted a rainbow in the past year.
no, not really. I'm very unlucky. मुझे कभी दिखते ही नहीं है, पता नहीं in this regard.
Next one. Had a random idea that sparked joy. No?
Everything is very planned. My head works in that way. So
Yeah. We have Nilsri here. She's appreciating your idea of the vision board. Fantastic idea. Achievement board.
thank you, Nilshri. We also have, I think, Vibhor here. Hi, Vibhor.
Ah,
He's saying
yes.
that he likes Sunday se aate hain. Me too, brother.
Yes. Okay. Next one. Took yourself on a date or day out.
Oh, yes, I did. After a book signing, I was in CP and there was this fancy lounge kind of a restaurant which was playing live music. मुझे भूख भी लग रही थी. मुझे लगा कि should I go in, like enjoy the live music? Then I thought कि मैं तो अकेली हूँ. Let me just take a takeaway. And then I thought, bloody hell, like should my happiness be dependent on the fact कि मैं अकेली हूँ so I cannot enjoy a live music? So I went in and everyone was like, from waiter to everyone was giving me a weird look. They in fact went ahead and said, "Ma'am, हम आपको alcohol नहीं serve कर सकते if you are alone." I said, I'm not asking for it. Like, hear me out. I'm just here to have a good time. So, the idea was so weird in today's time because people are like so much into seeking others' company
Hmm.
that it was kind of worrying for them. Like throughout, I was the center of attention to everyone. मैम आपको कुछ चाहिए, आप सही हो. मुझे लगा पता नहीं कौन सी स्टेट में है जो बेचारी खुद ही अकेले आके खाना खा रही है यहाँ पे. Maybe she's very sad. You have that Keanu Reeves meme where he's just sad and eating. So yeah, that happened. Yeah.
Okay. Next one. Smelled something baking.
Nahi, I don't know B of baking. I want to, but no, and neither do anyone in my family.
Smell करना भी allowed है. So you were in the cafe. I'm sure you smelled something like coffee or bread.
हाँ, that ways तो हाँ, but not like अभी बहुत recently नहीं, but हाँ जब I go out तो yes.
Yes. Okay. Next one. Had a good hair day in the past 2 weeks.
As a curly hair girl, you should not be asking this to another curly hair girl. You should not.
Okay. My bad. Sorry. Okay. Next one. Popped a bubble wrap.
Always I think yeah, yes,
Okay. Next one. Ate your comfort food.
yes.
Yeah. Next one, gazed at the moon in silence.
Not really.
Okay. Next one, bought something that made you giddy.
That made me giddy. No, I mean, it could be a bad parcel of takeout. That's it, not really.
Okay. And the last one, reconnected with an old friend.
I did. Yeah, not recently, but some time ago I did. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Not bad at all, Anika. I mean, a lot of no's, but a lot of yeses also. And I believe that this is the correct way to lead the life because Fit Melt is like a guide on how you
Very
can be happier.
interesting. It's a very interesting. It was, I had gala time in doing this activity. Yeah, this is fun.
So happy to hear that. And now, before I let you go and we wrap up the episode, there's just one last question that I have to ask you. I ask these to almost all my guests, especially those guests I had a lot of fun with. So, when are you coming up with the next book? I can invite you again.
Well, hopefully, I am still kind of stuck in the promotional phase of my book, and I am somebody who kind of cannot move on with something once they put something to rest, like the current thing to rest. So I think I am going to do that probably in February. February is what I'm envisioning as a last month that I'm keeping officially for the end of all the creepy crawlies related promotion, and then probably I'll work on the next part of it or something else. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah.
So, sometime in 2026 or 2027, what are we looking at?
Let's see. Let's see. I have no idea. We
Oh,
are just, let's hope.
okay. Whatever it is, I wish you all the best, and I hope it comes out soon so we can do this again. It was so much fun having you here. Any parting thoughts that you want to share with the audience?
Oh, well, I feel that the book that you've written, this show and these activity in particular, it makes you so much of so much more aware of the things that was right under your nose and you've been ignoring in terms of joy and happiness. So I feel that it's such a nice initiative in a way that I kind of, while reading a book, while doing this show, the activities, I got reminded of the things that were always there, that I love, that I like, and I just wasn't grateful enough for it. So yeah, that's very nice.
Much. Thank you for appreciating that. And on that note, quickly, I'm going to show everyone the cover of Creepy Crawlies. Go check it out on Amazon or in any bookstore. So, and I had a lot of fun reading it. So, do check it out. And this is also one last time that I'm going to show my book cover also. We were talking about these two books, my book and Kanika's book. It was great having you, Kanika. Look forward to having you again. Bye. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye. Bye, everyone.